Some descriptions of the rooftop suspect shift over versions. Clothing changes, position changes, direction changes, raising the possibility of inconsistent narrative shaping. Video leap cuts or missing frames suggest possible post-production editing, not just field recording limitations. The speed with which the public narrative was framed, tribute speeches, media commentary, may have outpaced forensic transparency, conditioning public opinion before all evidence was freely shown. If you stay silent, they'll bury the truth under new talking points. Share this video now, because your voice is part of the investigation. We began with silence. 30 missing seconds in dispatch audio. Gaps that may conceal more truth than the parts we can hear. We built through the case. Who Charlie Kirk was, how the shooting happened, what the official narrative asserts. We peeled back the layers of evidence. Audio anomalies, video matches, forensic shadows. We examined how law enforcement responded, and where their narrative veered from what the public saw. We explored theories, from honest leaks to tampering to deliberate narrative theater, and weighed them with scrutiny. At every turn, one tension rises above all others. The dispatch leak might hold hidden clues, or conflicts that dismantle the official version. And the greatest unknowns remain. What really occurred in those missing seconds, if they exist? Was the audio altered? If so, who did it, why, and with what authority? Where is the full autopsy report? The ballistic trajectories? The GSR data? The forensic paperwork? If those documents exist, why haven't they been released? So here's the question I leave you with. Do we accept the version handed to us, or do we demand the full, unredacted truth? Because silence is not always absence, and not asking is how they stay in control. If you're watching this and staying quiet, you're letting them rewrite history. Hit like. Share this video far and wide. Make voices loud enough that no agency, no institution can ignore us. What do you believe happened? Which theory resonates with you? What evidence do you demand to see? Tell me in the comments. Challenge me, push me, make me answer. Because this case isn't over. We're still writing the truth.
September 2025, the nation is still reeling from the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a single gunshot that turned a political rally into chaos. Investigators moved quickly, stacking layer upon layer of evidence against one man, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. But now, just when the prosecution thought their case was airtight, Robinson's defense has dropped a bombshell. They argue that the so-called smoking gun evidence may not be what it seems. Those bizarre engraved bullets, the defense says they're not a manifesto of hate, but meaningless internet memes, crude, ironic, and taken out of context. The Discord confession? They claim digital logs can be faked, manipulated, or even planted by outsiders. And the star witness? Robinson's own roommate and romantic partner? Could they be biased, self-protective, or worse, strategically altering the truth? It raises chilling questions right from the start. Was Robinson truly the lone shooter, or is he being framed by digital footprints and a culture of memes? Can insider testimony from someone so personally entangled ever be trusted? And if even one critical piece of evidence crumbles, does the entire case collapse with it? Before we dive deeper, let me ask you this. Hit like and subscribe now, because if we don't ask these questions, powerful narratives go unchallenged. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Do you believe the defense's claims have merit? Or is this just smoke and mirrors? The answers may determine whether justice is delivered or derailed. It's just after noon. The air is buzzing with chants, cameras, and applause. Kirk steps to the podium, microphone in hand. Then, at 12:23 p.m., a single crack shatters the noise. One shot. A bullet slices through the air, striking Kirk in the neck. Panic erupts. Students and supporters scatter, ducking under benches, sprinting for cover. Security rushes the stage as Kirk collapses, bleeding, carried by aides and officers toward the waiting ambulance. Within minutes, the campus is on lockdown. Police swarm rooftops and lecture halls, searching for the hidden shooter. But the gunman is gone. For 33 hours, Utah lives under siege. Helicopters circle, roadblocks lock down neighborhoods, and armed officers scour nearby hills. The nation watches in real time as headlines scream. Political assassination and theories explode across social media. Then just as suddenly as he vanished, Tyler Robinson reappears. On the evening of September 11th, he walks into the Washington County Sheriff's Office and turns himself, in under-negotiated conditions. The quiet, unassuming apprentice from St. George is now branded the most notorious suspect in America. And this is where the defense's twist becomes crucial. Because the timeline seems damning. A shot, a dead commentator, a manhunt, and a suspect who surrenders. But what if the digital trail, the Discord posts, the engraved bullets, the roommate's testimony, is weaker than it looks? If the prosecution's narrative can't hold under scrutiny, then this tidy story of shooter and victim might not be so simple. And that's exactly the controversy Robinson's defense is pushing into the spotlight. The prosecution believes it has built an airtight case, a puzzle where every piece locks perfectly into place. First, the forensic evidence. Police recovered a high-powered Mauser rifle wrapped in a dark towel hidden near the scene. On that towel, traces of DNA matching Tyler Robinson. Alongside it, investigators found spent bullet casings scattered on the rooftop. To the state, this weapon is the murder instrument, the DNA, the undeniable signature. Then, the psychological evidence, perhaps the most chilling. The bullets weren't ordinary. They were engraved with taunts, insults, even references to meme culture. Phrases like, "Hey fascist, catch," and "If you read this, you are gay El Mao." Dark humor colliding with political venom. To prosecutors, these engravings transform the bullets into a manifesto, a declaration of hate, etched in brass. And finally, the digital evidence. Hours after the shooting, a Discord account linked to Robinson posted, "It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all this." His roommate later discovered a note under Robinson's keyboard. "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Add in the text messages, cryptic instructions to look under the keyboard, and the prosecution paints a picture of chilling premeditation. But here is where the defense strikes. They argue that those bullet engravings are not a manifesto at all, but edgy memes, meaningless internet jokes pulled out of context, not political hate, but crude irony. They insist digital logs are never absolute. Accounts can be hacked, messages manipulated, metadata forged. In an age of deepfakes and cyber attacks, can we ever be certain who typed those words? And the roommate's testimony? The defense claims it's compromised. A romantic partner turned state's witness has motives to save themselves, to shift blame, to control the narrative. The prosecution wants you to see a perfect puzzle. Rifle, DNA, bullets, confession. But the defense is prying those pieces loose, one by one, daring the jury and the public to ask, is this really the whole truth, or just a story stitched together to fit the crime? Tyler James Robinson. To most who knew him, he was ordinary, born in Washington, Utah, one of 3 brothers. No criminal record, no history of violence, just another young man trying to carve out a path in a small town. By 2025, he was an electrical apprentice, studying at Dixie Technical College in St. George. Friends described him as awkward, quiet, often glued to his phone or computer. His social world, less the streets of Utah, and more the digital labyrinth of online forums, Discord chats, and meme culture. And this is where the contradictions begin. But the defense insists that narrative is a distortion. To them, Tyler Robinson is not a cold-blooded political assassin, but a socially isolated apprentice misrepresented by cherry-picked posts, exaggerated engravings, and biased testimony. They argue he is being painted into a role, the perfect villain for a political tragedy, a convenient symbol of internet-fueled extremism, whether or not the evidence truly proves it. So, which version is real? The quiet, small-town apprentice who got lost in digital irony, or the radicalized young man who stepped onto a rooftop and fired a single history-altering shot? That is the heart of the defense's argument, that the world is seeing not Tyler Robinson, the person, but Tyler Robinson, the caricature. In every major trial, there's one figure who seems to tip the balance. In the case of Tyler Robinson, it is his own roommate, and as investigators revealed, his romantic partner. It was this insider who handed over the damning digital logs. It was this insider who pointed detectives to the handwritten note hidden beneath the keyboard. And it was this insider who confirmed Robinson spoke of plans, frustrations, and targets. The prosecution hails the testimony as courageous, a partner choosing justice over loyalty. But the defense sees something far darker. To them, this is a conflict of interest wrapped in betrayal, a lover turned state witness, with every incentive to protect themselves by pushing blame onto Robinson. Was it a genuine act of conscience or a strategic act of survival? This single testimony carries enormous weight. Without it, the bullet engravings could be dismissed as jokes, the Discord logs questioned as hacks. But with it, the prosecution can stitch together a narrative of intent, planning, and confession. And so, the debate ignites. Is this justice, the painful truth coming from someone closest to the suspect? Or is it manufactured testimony, a story told by a witness with everything to gain and everything to lose? For the jury and for the public, the roommate's role may decide whether Tyler Robinson is remembered as a lone gunman or as a young man betrayed by the person he trusted most. The prosecution's theory of motive is simple and stark. They argue Tyler Robinson acted out of ideological hatred, that he saw Charlie Kirk not as a man, but as a symbol of everything he despised. The engraved bullets, the online posts, the hidden note, all they say reveal a young man radicalized by memes and fueled by political venom. But the defense rejects this outright. They argue that memes do not equal motive, that internet irony and crude humor are not proof of ideology, let alone premeditation. They suggest Robinson may have been emotionally unstable, under pressure, or even misunderstood, but not calculating an assassination. And then come the unproven elements. The chain of custody for those bullets and casings. Was it flawless, or could evidence have been mishandled? The authenticity of the Discord confession. Can prosecutors prove beyond doubt that Robinson typed those words and not an intruder, a hacker, or someone deliberately framing him? This is where the defense's shadow theory takes root. Did Tyler Robinson really confess online? Or was someone playing puppeteer with his digital identity? Could those engravings, those taunts on brass, have been staged to guarantee conviction? If even one piece of evidence collapses under scrutiny, does the entire case unravel? Or is the weight of what remains enough to seal Robinson's fate? These are the questions now hanging over the courtroom and over the country. The shooting at Utah Valley University sent shockwaves across the nation. For the local community, it was trauma. For the country, it was outrage. On one side, media voices framed it as nothing less than a political assassination, a targeted killing of a conservative leader in broad daylight. They warned of a nation spiraling into ideological violence. On the other side, commentators sounded alarms about the very evidence at the heart of this case. Bullet engravings, Discord logs, ironic memes. Could jokes and digital traces truly stand as the foundation for a murder trial? Or was this the dawn of a dangerous precedent, where free speech, dark humor, and online chatter became criminal proof? And in the middle, a deeply divided public. Some demand justice, swift and certain. Others ask, if memes are evidence, where does interpretation end and assumption begin? This case isn't just about one man or one gunshot. It's about what counts as proof in a digital world, where irony collides with ideology, and private jokes can be treated like public declarations of hate. If you think this case is about more than just one man, if you think it's about truth in the age of digital evidence, then share this video. Don't let the narrative be decided without your voice. The prosecution's case rests on 4 pillars: bullets, notes, Discord logs, and DNA. A perfect puzzle of forensic, digital, and testimonial evidence. But the defense is dismantling it, piece by piece, arguing that memes are not manifestos, that confessions can be forged, that lovers turned witnesses are unreliable. And so, we are left with one haunting question. If evidence can be memes, if confessions can be digital, if lovers can become star witnesses, what does guilt even mean in 2025? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you buy the defense's claim? Or is this just smoke and mirrors? Subscribe now because this story isn't finished, and the next